That sounds great. Good morning, everyone.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Miss Evelyn.
You're Miss Evelyn, and I'm Joe.
It's so nice to meet you in person, Joe.
Well, it's very good to be here.
It's not really in person, though. It's on a Zoom call.
That is such a good point, Isla. That is such a good point. Hey, Sume. Hey, Isla.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. I'm so honored to meet you, ladies.
I was just sending out all of our links. We have this really sophisticated TV show process where we copy a link and then send it to our groups on our phone while we're live.
Beautiful. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited.
Well, you got your coffee?
I have my coffee in my peacock mug.
Oh, and we have water for Isla.
Perfect. So we all take a sip at the same time. Is that how?
Simultaneous slurp on 3.
3, 2.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Delicious.
I know, right? It's the best part of the day.
Yes.
So far. Of course, I keep saying that throughout the whole day. It just keeps going.
I agree. My days get better and better also, Joe.
So I've known Evelyn, actually gotten to know her for a whole 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been a magical 2 days, my brother.
I know. I think part of it is you get her and me in a room and the level of positive energy is so high. You can power a rocket.
So what personality are you?
Oh, good question.
Ooh, I am the campaigner.
Oh.
What letters are the campaigner?
It's ENFP.
ENFP, I'm the campaigner, and it was Joe that got me to take that assessment.
Do you agree for what it says about the campaigner?
100%.
Uh-huh.
Strengths and weaknesses, and I saw a blog about the campaigner. I think that Sume wrote.
Yeah. She wrote a blog post about 70% of the personality types.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we notice starts to happen at WEquil school once people take off of this, is that all of a sudden a young person will just sort of get into something, and then all of a sudden boom, they're just going,
Down the rabbit hole.
Down some rabbit hole.
Yes.
But we mostly wanted to talk to you about you, because on this show people know about us already. So one of the goals is to have some fun, drink some coffee, also have the girls talk more than me because I talk too much, and then and basically you just tell us tell us your story, tell us what you do, and then on the back end we could talk about how you and I are intending to collaborate. But I just think it'd be fun if you talk to my kids while I sit here and drink coffee. How does that sound?
Sure.
Amazing.
Want to make a friend? I'm gonna even turn this a little bit.
Sounds great. Girls, do you want to hear my story?
Yeah.
Good answer.
Okay. So I have been teaching, are you ready for this year? Since 2005.
Oh.
That's right. I graduated from the University of Georgia in 2005 and have been in the education world for that long. And it's already 2021. I can't believe it.
How old are you?
I am 39, but you have to say I look so vibrant and young.
Yeah. I was thinking you were 20 or something.
Thank you. I'm older than your dad.
She can't be 20 because then she'd be teaching since she was 4. But Sume's been teaching since she was 4. That was how, as soon as Isla was born, she was like, all right, this is how you walk.
I mean,
and she's like getting ready.
Before she said that, I was like,
oh, okay. All right.
Yes, yes. So I taught in public schools for a long time, and I taught in a variety of public schools. And I have done everything from teaching gifted education, which speaks to you girls, I know, to special education and loving those kids so much, to lots and lots of different subjects. So I did that for a long time. And there was one year that I was teaching an 8th grade class. And in this 8th grade class, over half of the classroom could not read. They couldn't read. I know. And so it broke my heart, and I felt overwhelmed because I couldn't serve everybody in this large group setting in the one-to-one way that they deserved. And so that sparked something inside of me. And I said, I have to do something about this. So I made a big change and I left public school. And so I started very, very little by little, I started tutoring my friends' kids and doing everything that I could to make a difference in their lives. That's how I started. I started tutoring my friends' kids. It was a very great way to get started. Well, the next thing you know, they told their friends and they told their friends, and you guys know all about that at the WEquil School, the power of growth and people sharing the magnificence that you do. Now I lead a team of 12 in my very own one-to-one and small group tutoring company. And we value all backgrounds, all faiths, and we believe that all humans are beautifully and wonderfully designed with gifts and talents. And my belief system is that every learner needs an adult who believes in them consistently, endlessly, without any doubt that every child and every teenager has a champion who believes in them.
Let's hear for Evelyn. Yeah. Woo!
I have a question.
Yeah,
Certainly.
Go for it.
In what way do you teach the kids that you tutor?
We teach according to a couple of things. First, we start with their ability level, and that's really important to me. We start with where they are. I'm not super big on grade levels, but I do believe that we need to get started with where they are so that we can move forward and take them to their highest potential. And then the other part, Isla, to answer your question, is we get to know the student and we get to know their interests, and we customize our tutoring and our instruction to something that's going to excite them. If they are super into Minecraft, then we're going to bring in Minecraft into our lessons. And with our littles, if they want to show us their toys, they show us their toys, and it's super exciting. So 2 things, ability level and interest and passions.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that does.
Sounds like it's a good thing we have going on.
I really like this. You call them the littles.
The littles, that's right. My littles.
Who are the littles? Like what? At what point? Like I probably don't qualify. Like what?
You don't.
Okay.
I would say pre-K through 2nd grade would be my littles. And then once you hit that 3rd grade level, that's when multiplication and division and decimals and big time writing becomes a part of your curriculum. So I don't think you're a little anymore. You are a young adult, a young adult, a young elementary school going on 35-year-old adult.
Right. Got it. That's cool. Well, I mean, that's been one of the challenges, like, as we think through how we structure. It's like, well, there is a correlation between age and ability. So we don't want to put out like age such and such, but yet at the same time, parents, of course, they're thinking, okay, I have this 5-year-old or this 10-year-old, and, is this appropriate for them? And I'm like, I don't know, put them on the phone. Let me talk to them. So I'm just like talking to all these
right.
kids.
And you'll discover, you guys, that your ability levels are going to be different in different content areas. We're going to have coding experts, but then we're going to have students who need some extra support with grammar. And you can be on completely different levels in different in different content areas, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, it is. It just is.
It just is. We're beautifully designed.
So yeah, I mean, you say that's like the most positive way to say it, and half the time I feel like I'm just like holding back as I'm getting frustrated at like the traditional education system going, we're all special, we have unique strengths and interests and passions, and it's like, but I need to pick up on more of your positivity, that positive message.
I'm sharing my vibes, Joe.
I love it. I'm soaking it up. So keep going, kid. I'll comment on that. I mean, maybe I'll just hint at some of the collaboration we'll do, just so that you have an opportunity to elaborate more. We'll probably actually put this up on our YouTube channel, because I want there to be an easy way for our followers to get to know you, but also see how we're collaborating, why this is so complementary. So in a self-directed project-based learning platform, essentially nothing that we're producing is technically part of like a standard curriculum, right?
Right.
It's really taking all of these tools that you're tutoring and using those tools to create unique projects where kids have an opportunity to teach, right? So this is like, there's basically no overlap here. But the beauty of this is that we could benefit. I'm sure a lot of our families could benefit from having some of that personalized tutoring. I mean, that style of tutoring fits with the philosophy of WEquil School, but it does take time for some of these young people to learn how to become self-directed. Although I see that as a goal, like going from a tutor approach where you're really holding that person's hand to a mentoring approach where they finally are confident enough and have the tools to start to take off. I mean, yeah, that's something that we want. We want to make that so easy they can just click, sign up, and so we're working on ways that we can integrate this. So I plugged Evelyn after day one just right into this parents and leadership channel so she could be communicating with our moms around the world, start to figure out how we can do this. I even plugged Evelyn onto a call with a gentleman named Justin yesterday, impromptu, just fun. It was for like 10 minutes. I introduced them to each other right away on a 3-way call. They didn't even know it. But Justin, a similar kind of collaboration, except he does a totally different but very complementary service where he's helping homeschoolers to find other homeschoolers in our network that are local geographically and give them ideas for educational things they can go do together
in person. And that is so important, and that's something that we're all craving right now, right?
For the most part. I think we kind of got into a habit of just like, I get to wake up, have my coffee, and look, we're together.
You guys have such a beautiful thing going on. And can I just express that I'm the hugest fan? I am the biggest fan of your entire family. Sume and Isla, you are just to the moon and stars outstanding. And I am so proud of your work.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you were telling me your story about how you got started and kind of working from the ground up, and during the pandemic, growing so much, but then even as schools were reopening, finding out from so many parents, look, we don't want to go back.
That's right.
And providing a tutoring service is something that's a tough thing to do, but I could tell right away it was because the personality and the culture that you bring from the top down, it starts at the top and it trickles down to everybody else. And so if you're successful doing that, it means that you've got a powerful leader that is giving everybody in your team the right message of here is how we help people. And so that's why I'm very comfortable just moving so fast and furious. So
thank you.
All right, that's enough talking from me. Now, go ahead.
Nice long speech, Daddy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. I was very patient. Okay, go ahead. Ask her more questions. Given all your background in what we do and knowing somewhat of what she does, let's give her a chance to talk more about her so that we can help her out.
Yeah. What made you want to integrate kind of bringing people's strengths and interests into your teaching?
Well, I believe that every person is here on this earth with a purpose, and that we are all created with gifts. And there is something that you are automatically attracted to, and something that you're good at, and something that you have to offer the world. And what's funny is sometimes people get older and they forget the magic of being a kid and those passions that you dive into. So I believe that everybody here on this earth is divinely made with a purpose and a gift to share. So I believe in focusing on not only where you need assistance, but pushing you forward into your passions, because that's so much of an important part of what makes you the unique, beautiful you that you are. Tears. I know. You girls make me teary-eyed too. It's so beautiful to see you in your element.
But we did a talk on this as part of Froen Girls. You probably did. If you dive more into our stuff, you'll see how quickly we've been iterating. The original TV show was called Froen Girls because I was just testing out ways to get my kids to like take advantage of all this freedom we had to learn. You want to tell them about? We did a Froen Girls on what was it? It was about how to. It was related to what she just said about how people get older and they forget what it's like to be a kid. We did a whole Froen Girls on that. It was like an hour long.
Yeah, the title was kind of long. It's why is it important to remember what it's like to be a kid?
And I came up with it.
That's great.
Love it.
Well, I used to have a giant afro during the pandemic.
Beautiful. You did?
Yeah. And so it was called Froen Girls. We did like a whole 50 series podcast. That was the original WEquil Live.
And sometimes my mom would join. And sometimes Benjamin would join.
Yeah.
Who's our neighbor.
I love that. If you can hear us in the background, my husband's here and he's getting our dog, if you hear what's going on in the background.
Does he want to say hi? Because I've heard a little bit about him, but if that's fine. If he's busy, that's fine.
I think he's running out the door to work, but you know, Joe, that he is super, super awesome. And my husband is my biggest fan.
Strong.
That's right.
That's another thing that we connected on is like I think a deep appreciation for marriage is a tool for personal growth. It's just, yeah, and not enough time on this, but do you guys have more questions for Evelyn? Like,
How did you get into the education space? Because you said that you started out as a public school teacher. What made you want to do that?
oh
Well,
yeah,
actually, that started for me when I was in middle school. And the guidance counselor at my middle school said, "You should be a guidance counselor." And I thought, wow, and at that point I was 12, 13 years old. And I went to see her because my best friend was moving away and I was so sad. And she could see that I was so in touch with my feelings and such a sensitive soul that she knew that that was something that I could take with me as I got older. And that was the original plan until I discovered, oh my goodness gracious, I can bring that into my classroom. And so I was automatically good at connecting with kids that were my own age, and that gift never went away. That's one of the magical components that makes me who I am.
Wait, did you start teaching at 12?
Was a support system for my friends. And I was always a go to when my friends had problems and when they had things that would upset them and bother them. I was always a go to for them.
starting
I am
starting
going
as young as
to
12.
Lennon out of his crate.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, we've got. Oh, maybe while you're doing that, Isla could share a little bit about how she's in charge of the dog.
Mostly.
Do tell.
Mostly.
Yeah, yeah.
Mommy helps.
Mommy helps when you're on TV because somebody's got to be.
Well, the dog is technically my dog because I was the one who filled out the applications to get the dog. I didn't pay for the dog. My mom did that, but I did a lot of research about the dog, and I was able. Then I wrote an article about caring for dogs, and so if I ever.
I thought it was 2.
No,
Sorry, go ahead.
I only did 1.
Oh, okay.
I changed the name to Caring for Dogs.
So she took over. This is part of her homeschooling, but I think it gets to like this idea that there's a lot of things that one can do with education that goes like this tailoring, right? This idea that you can tailor to. I think that's another thing that I'd love for you to elaborate on is how you're able to bring this into your tutoring services, and what was this transition like? Because you were initially in the public school system teaching, and maybe you could elaborate a little bit on the challenges of being able to bring personalized. Because I get a lot of, so I talk to so many parents, and I mean, like at this point, between Facebook messaging and talking on the phone, it's probably over like 500 now because I just keep doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do, but part of that is like you and I share this, that we have pretty thick skin. Like if somebody disagrees with us, we're fine. In fact, we kind of get more excited when that happens, right? It's like, ooh, I get to learn something. But when I'm talking to moms, especially moms in this area, because a lot of people that live in Falls Church, Virginia, they live here because of the public school system. They're paying a lot more for their houses so they can be here. And then like also I have a family member who is a public school teacher. And,
me too.
And so when I bring up some of these issues about like how hard it is to give kids the right level of personalization in their work, then they'll try to say, oh, but they can do that in such and such. And I'm thinking 30 kids, one teacher, not. Maybe you could speak to that, and then the transition to what you do now and really contrast these.
Absolutely. So it's super interesting. Back in 2005, I was out and I was 22, 23. I think I was 23 in 2005. And I was asked to speak at a conference at that age. I was channeling my inner Sume and Isla. And
I try to do that too.
right. And I was asked to lead a conference on something called differentiation, which is what the public schools try to do, which means different content or different methods. All of the, bless you, for all of the students in their classes. But what I found is when you have 30 students, you just can't customize it to know the ins and outs of everybody's gifts and talents. You do your very, very best, but ultimately, and I'm going to be very honest with you girls, because I know that you know how this is in public school, big groups shipping them in, big groups shipping them out, and you just can't connect with your teacher on this deep, deep level. There may be, Lennon's making his presence known, there may be a few really close connections with your teacher, but it's just impossible, especially at the middle school level. I had 120 students throughout the day, and it's impossible to have 120 one-to-one relationships the way that I do now. And I've built a team so that we can see students, hear students, value students in that one-to-one and small group, no larger than 5 levels, so that everybody is truly supported. So essentially, to answer your question, it just couldn't be done in these massive groups the way that I feel that children and teenagers deserve to be taught and supported.
So maybe keep going with this. I really want to hear about this transition, because you left.
I did.
And I
that
think
was
you touched on it
scary.
before, but feel free to elaborate on that, because that's tough, right? And then kind of initially when you started tutoring, I'm sure there was a process of iteration and improvement where you're finally getting to that sweet spot of, okay, there's some collaborative nature of tutoring, so we can have 5 kids in a room. That seems to work really good, but any more than that, all of a sudden we start to lose that connection. Like, what was that process like of transition to get to this place you are now, where you are just finding so much success?
That's a great question. So I found great success. You guys are so cute. So I found great success in getting to know your favorite song and having a dance party and the bonding that took. There's one student of mine who was practicing a theatrical production performance and did that for me. But I discovered getting to know my students on such a deep level made a lasting connection forever in a way that was impossible at the public school level. And I was an excellent teacher, definitely a magical teacher. You'll hear me say that word a lot because I believe in being just beautiful and exuding such a positive nature. But I found, and my teachers found in my tutoring company, that they loved the one-to-one and they loved the small groups. We've got one of my teachers is teaching a group of 3 students to fall in love with writing. And they're creating their own fantasy novels, and they're building upon each other, and they're revising each other's work and giving each other the most beautiful feedback. And it's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. And then we have Lennon, No, sir.
No, Len, no. Or
That's right.
else.
That's right. John Lennon the dog. And one of my teachers who teaches our littles, he's an expert in teaching the littles, he discovered I can teach kids how to read one-to-one. And that's how he likes to teach. So that's always how I set it up. And he will even teach pre-K students with a parent present or an adult present, and they're cutting and they're pasting and they're coloring and they're singing songs. And I just can't express enough how amazing it is when you have those connections at those young ages.
And this is all virtual.
It's all virtual. And it's so interesting because I have some parents in the past who said, oh, I could never see that virtually. It has to be in person, because people get very accustomed to the way things were. And Joe knows this. I'm a mover and a shaker, and I am a creator of my own future. And yes, just like you girls. And I knew that I could do it. I knew that I could connect through the screen live. We're not playing lots of videos. That's not how we roll. I knew that I could connect live and that my teachers could connect live and make lasting, meaningful connections forever.
You mentioned that, and I'll bet, Sumana, you and I bet you had the same thought, I'm guessing. Talked about we don't share a lot of videos, because we were doing a bunch of research before about like all these different online platforms to see what was out there. And it's just one recorded video after the next. And it's like, so what, we're just going to train our kids to be addicted to television? Like, what's the deal?
Right. It's so interesting. They're inundated with videos and working at their own pace, which is good and well when you're ready. But what I have found is that having that support system, and at the WEquil school, having that student to student support system is so phenomenal. And I love that. And then in the world of Evelyn Educates, you have a trusted adult for that support system. And I'll tell you guys that in my tutoring company, we're like Mary Poppins. We are with you as you need us. And then as you grow and you don't need us anymore, we say goodbye. I know, we say goodbye, and that you can return to us at any time that you need us.
So that's so great. I feel like this is, well, I think I've already said 5 times that I just see like ways that this can integrate so well. But I think some of this we'll just have to we'll have to demonstrate. That's a big thing that we do. That I'd be curious to get your thoughts on. We spent more time than maybe, well, certainly anybody that we've met or heard of, trying to figure out what can help young people become confident. Because, and I asked the parents before I let them in the group too, because we're attracting a particular kind of person. We've talked about this at depth. So part of what I'm trying to do is signal this to people that are watching this, that might be interested in your service. But I asked you about confidence, because you're just an extremely confident person. The way you approach tutoring, the way you've built this empire, you know, and so maybe you could elaborate a little bit about what you've learned, given your experience, about how one can help young people become confident, because that seems so key in unlocking their creativity and drive to learn and explore.
I love that. So girls, and for anybody watching this video, making mistakes is absolutely okay. That's part of the creative process. That's part of growing up. And if we wait until something is perfect, we'll never do anything at all. So be bold, be fabulous, be confident, and do it messy. Get it out into the universe. You can correct it later, but people will be attracted to your vibe. And it's okay if somebody says, no, that's not for me. That's okay. I can't tell you how many ideas I came up with for my tutoring company that didn't work, that absolutely didn't work. And I had to say, okay, so this didn't work. Let me try something different and something different and something different. And then I hit this point where things connected, and I said, one-to-one is where we are. Small group is where we are. Finding adults, a variety of adults. I have adults who focus on mindfulness and meditation and bringing that into the classroom. I have a bubbly adult just like me. She's my soul sister. I have adults that have all of these
This is our
different.
Mrs. Bubbly right here.
Once my teacher called me bubbly, and I was just like, people do that.
Yes, that's a part of who I am and a part of who you are, and that's what makes you so special. That's what makes you so special. So I discovered this formula of finding a diverse group of adults, and that's something that's really important to me is diversity. Diversity in ethnicity, diversity in faith. I think that's so important because I think that young adults need to see themselves in their teacher leaders. I think that's so important because you need to know that yes, beauty is possible for me, success is possible for me. But to focus back on that question, mistakes are okay. It's absolutely okay. Create and do and build like you girls do and get it out there. You can say, oh, this is test run number 27. And that's perfectly fine because you're going to attract people as you go along.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to keep drilling down on this because I just think it's so important. One of the things that we've come to believe as part of our philosophy, but I'm still questioning it, I'm constantly questioning it, is this idea that what we really want is for young people to have like the switch turn on, like the light to light up, right? And
I agree.
This approach is so different than the way that most every parent I talk to. Okay, all right. We'll have to wrap up here over the next 5 minutes because she starts teaching kids programming. She's reminding me. She's like, Joe, here we go. So yeah. So the idea is, from most parents I talk to are like, well, the goal of education is to help kids learn as much as possible. And on the surface of it, that sounds like a reasonable goal. But what we've come to believe so far is that the real goal is to help young people become so confident and curious that you no longer need to force knowledge into their head because they want to become powerful. They want to learn. They want to explore. They want to create. They want to start teaching other people things that they discovered. And so it's like getting them to this point, and we've described it with a term called escape velocity.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And change it to equilibrium, or should we?
No, I actually now I have two different terms, and I'm using them both to mean different things. Yeah, we keep that was a whole month ago, Sume. So this escape velocity, where they're escaping the gravity of all the self-doubt, the lack of ability to use these tools, the need for someone to hold their hand to teach them how to learn, right? Once they break free, that's when they can really take advantage of our platform. Yes. And so I kind of see the way that we complement each other is that you basically help these kids reach escape velocity.
That's right. That's right. And I feel like we're a foundational part of getting students ready for the empire that you are building. And so we really complement each other very, very well. I think this is going to be a beautiful relationship for years and years to come.
Amen, sister.
Amen.
All
Amen.
right.
What do you girls think about that?
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with that, because it does take a little bit to get people to a point where they, because sometimes people come in, they're just like, well, what do I do? And a lot of what we do is, when someone first comes in, we're just like, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to create? And a lot of the time they're not really sure, because they haven't thought about their interests, and they haven't been immersed in kind of that culture that I think that you've been trying to integrate in your tutoring service, and having already being used to thinking about those things and trying to build on what you're good at, what you're passionate about, as you said, is something that makes it so that they can get started creating things a lot faster, because they know that it's not just, okay, well, someone told me that I have to do this, so now I'm just gonna go do it. And they know that I can take control of my own education, and I can do something with it, and start creating things. And yeah, I definitely think that could be really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think you won them over. So partnership continues.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. I know you said, hey, so how do we move forward? I'm like, well, how about tomorrow morning? Hop on our TV show. Let's go, go, go. You know?
Yes, yes.
And so I think that we'll basically keep doing what we've always been doing, and that is we'll keep asking all the parents and all the students how we can help them.
That's amazing. I agree.
And so let's just keep doing that. And then we will iterate and improve our way to a collaborative partnership that adds value to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't agree more.
Can I see the doggy?
Yes, you sure can. He's right here. He knocked the trash can over, girls. And
That's what my dog does.
Yes, and there was nothing I could. Lennon, come here. Come here, buddy.
Nice.
Oh.
Oh, that reminds me of Juna. She just sleeps on the floor and ignores her bed.
Yeah.
We see his paws, but I promise you he's here, and he is enormous. He is enormous. He's bigger than me. And here's a fun-filled fact.
Really?
I am
Wow.
4'10".
Wow.
How big is he? How big is he?
He is, oh my gosh, he is as tall as me when he's on two paws. He is as tall as me, and he weighs over 70 pounds. And so he is a big, big boy, and he's young, so he's still learning how to behave. That's why he was causing a little chaos in the background. Thank you for your patience with that. He knows when mom is on a conference call, but we have a backyard, so if I'm teaching, I put him in the backyard.
Cool.
Okay.
Love it.
Sumay needs to teach.
Yeah, we gotta go. Oh, I gotta teach. All right. Take care. Bye, Evelyn.
Bye.